Hey y'all, 69 Chevelle. I was going to say back in the garage, but it hardly left. So 69 Chevelle still in the garage. Got some things to do. I got to sort the brakes out. Figure out if I need to buy anything or if I can just make these work. Like I said in the last video, at minimum I need to see if I can swap the calipers from side to side since the bleeder's on the bottom of these. I want to see if I can get an alternator charging and alternating. That shouldn't be too bad. It's a 3-wire alternator. I'll get that hooked up. I want to hook up the electric choke, get that sorted, and maybe I can get this car out of the garage and get the front end on it. And then I can do a radiator. So stick with me. We're going to make some progress. Got to. I can't keep letting this car sit here. So first, I think I'll do alternator choke things. My intent, or not intent, what I think I'm going to do is pull 12 volts from key source and run it to the choke. And then I'll run an exciter to the alternator and we'll finish wiring that up. Okay, alternator and electric choke wired up to the key switch. So all I did was I just pulled 12 volts off a keyed source. Kind of had to make one because none of the wiring's done on this car. Wasn't hard, just found a wire that wasn't going to anything inside and out. And pulled from that. And as you can see, the choke is getting hot. It's up to, what, 94 degrees? Very cool. And then I just use the same wire to go to the exciter on the alternator. The other side, I think this is terminal 2. Can't remember. But yeah, this terminal goes to the discharge of the alternator. And then from there, back to the positive side of the battery. So next time I fire this up, if the alternator works, it should be charging. It should be good. Keep from killing the battery like I did on the last video. But yeah, choke appears to be working. Yeah, already up to what, 100, 104. Very cool. All right, moving on. Next thing I need to do, brakes. Not looking forward to this. Figure something out. So for bleeding the brakes, because the system was dry when I got this, I am just going, I let the bleeder open with the tube attached to it in a bottle there to keep from making a mess. I'm just going to pump these. I'm just trying to get air out of them. Because I don't think I can get all the air out. You know, with somebody pumping and me opening and closing the bleeder. I'm just trying to fill it full of fluid. I think before the air was coming back up to the master cylinder, causing me problems. It also doesn't help this master cylinder being on such an angle. But I didn't install it. Once it ever takes off, it should be fine. As long as I keep the fluid topped off. Yeah, I just keep pumping and trying to get air out of it. And I always start as far away from the master cylinder as possible. I don't want that to go dry, so I got to keep up with that. It's getting low, not dry. But it would be nice to get some brakes on this car. So we'll just keep pumping. Eventually something will have to work. we're getting fluid. Set up my little camera and see if I can watch it. Okay, so what I got here, just got my little camera set up so I can watch what's going on. I can actually see how much air I'm getting out of the tube while I pump. And then what I'm going to do is I'll push that tube down in the brake fluid. That way when it pulls back, hopefully it'll start getting all the air out of it. And let me top off the master cylinder again, not that it's out. But I just don't want it to get low. Start pulling air back up to the master cylinder is going to defeat the purpose of what I'm trying to do. Okay, let's give this a try. See what happens. And every time I let off the pedal, it pulls air back up. You can kind of see the air bubbles. Yep, so let off the pedal, you can see the air bubbles go back. Push the pedal, fluid comes out. So now what I'll do is I'll put that tube down in the fluid. That way when it draws back from there, it'll pull fluid back, and hopefully I'll start getting all the air out of this system, and I'll get at least rear brakes. Then I'll focus on the fronts again. And top her off again. Okay, so now we'll push this tube down into the fluid. And when I pump, we should see air bubbles come out and fluid go back up. At least that's what we're hoping for. Okay, let's pump again. And pump. Air bubbles. And draw back. And pump. And we'll just keep doing this hundreds of times. Well, that might be an exaggeration. Dozens of times. And hopefully get all the air out. I have never had so much trouble getting brakes to work on a car. But what I started doing is I would close the bleeder valve, top off the master cylinder, and just pump the mess out of it. And then I would come back here and open up the bleeder valve and just let it sit. And I don't know if you can see it, but there's a clear spot from here down, and it's getting air bubbles like that long. And then they'll go away, and I'll do the same thing again and pump, 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 pump. Open the bleeder valve and get a little bit of air. So maybe this is getting some air out of it. There must be air in it if it keeps doing this. So I'm going to keep on doing what I'm doing. Close the bleeder, pump the snot out of it, come over here, open the bleeder, and look for air bubbles. And hopefully, eventually, I won't get any more air bubbles. Brake pedal pushed about 100 times. So I'm going to open this bleeder again and see if I get any air out of the tube. Let's see if I can reach it. There we go. And I don't see anything moving this time. Last couple times, I could see fluid being pushed through. Oh, a little bit. See the air bubbles. Okay, so it's doing something. It's just slow and I can't see it. All right, carry on. Maybe I'll end up with a rear brake. 1 out of 4. It's better than 0 out of 4, I guess. Okay, I caught some air bubbles. Air bubble. You see that traveling? Yes, it's almost like gravity feeding the rear brake, I guess. I don't know if this is going to work. I've never had to bleed brakes like this. Super strange. All right, I'm going to let this finish. We'll follow it all the way down. It's doing something because I'm still getting air bubbles. Yeah, it's traveling on down. All right, I'm going to keep watching it. So after pumping it multiple times, bleeding like I was showing you, I got my wife to come out here and pump it up and hold it while I open the bleeder, close the bleeder. She lets off pumps. We did that probably a dozen times. But it appears that I have some brakes on the back. So next, I'm going to come up front, get the front end up, flip these calipers around. All right, front calipers have been swapped side to side. Bleeder is now on top. Looks like I still got plenty of flexibility in my hose. I'm going to do the same thing I did for the rear. Get in there and just pump the mess out of it. And then open up the bleeder and see if I get anything. And rinse, repeat. And then I'll get my wife to, or my son to come out here and pump them and see if I can get anything to the fronts. I got my caliper swapped. Got my bleeder sitting on top there. And I got this side, the passenger side, where it's actually gripping and doing what it's supposed to do. But now that I've swapped them, I guess it was on the passenger, now it's on the driver, this caliper won't move. So we're going to spray it, spray and pray, see if it works. If not, we'll have to find another caliper. You can see my little, been beating on it, trying to break it loose. But if that's all that's wrong with it, that's not too bad. Anyway, we'll let that sit, try it again. So it's been sprayed, it's been pushed, it won't budge. So what I'm going to do is put it back on, probably order another one, but I can at least get this thing moving around because supposedly I have brakes on 3 out of 4. That's pretty good, but I'll order a caliper and get it on. But progress. Hopefully I'll have some brakes next time I start this car and try to move it. You know, I couldn't believe it, but I found a brake caliper locally at one of the auto parts store. So all I gotta do is get this in. Look at that, pins are already greased. This is nice. All right, get my old pads loaded into the new caliper. Get the new caliper installed. And see if I can bleed the brakes again. New caliper installed. Old brake pads, but they're new. Got my little setup there so I can get in the car, pump the brake. Tubes down the fluid so when it draws back, it'll draw fluid back. So hopefully it'll just push air out and pull fluid in. And this will be bled. So after way more hours than I care to admit, I have brakes up here. It's about darn time. Because I have pumped and pumped and pushed and pushed. And they're finally working. And how do I know? Got my brake pedal blocked. Literally. So let's remove this. Hopefully be able to spin the wheel now. Ooh, nice. I don't know, this side might be touching the lift. Nope. That means I got front brakes. And the rears, I believe, are working too. So now, I can back this thing out of the garage. All right, here goes nothing. Again, I got choke hooked up. Alternator does charge now. I'm sure I have brakes this time. I got transmission, radiator. Hey, we'll worry about that later. Okay. It'll start and run for a few minutes. We'll back it out of the garage. Okay. And park. Fires right up. Pull my string. Brake pedal feels good. All right. Put it in reverse, see what happens. Nothing. Still have something under the wheel. I removed all my wheel chocks and stuff. Oh, I wonder if the brakes are like actually holding it back this time. I wonder if they're not releasing. Also, I didn't lower the jack like a big dummy. Yeah. I guess you're not gonna move. Big dummy. It's okay, things happen, get excited. Just ready to, you know, get things done. Okay. Whoops. Let's try it again. Throttle, throttle. Why are you back to not wanting to idle? Reverse is reversing now. Why aren't you running? Can't be out of gas again. That'd be impossible. Illogical. Now you got fuel in the filter. Well, something's going on because you don't want to run. Why don't you want to sit there and run? Now, what is your problem? Well, brakes work this time. I'm going to call that a little more of a success because it did get where I wanted it this time. Woo, it's cold. But yes, got it out here, which means now I can get that back on there. Now I can set a radiator up and let it run more than a couple minutes. Sweet. All right, I'm gonna get some help. Probably get my wife. As pretty as she is, she don't like being on camera. So, I'll grab her, set this front clip back on, and then see what I can do about a radiator. Front end reattached, starting to look like a car again. But now I can figure out if the radiator I have will fit, and if it does, I can order some hoses, and I can actually let it run for a few minutes. Man, the car looks good sitting outside. Got on them headlights. Cool. Probably gonna turn it around and put it back in its home. And then I'll get back to working on it sometime. But it's getting late and it's cold. Hee hee hee. Driving my Chevelle. Driving my white Chevelle. Come on. Why you no run? Come on. Don't embarrass me. Car ran a whole lot better before I hooked the alternator up. No, don't die on me now. I really need you to go under this shelter. Oh, big sad. All right, let me jump it off. All right, let's try this again. Booster block installed. Come on, baby. You're a weird car. I've never seen one act like it had no gas in it like this. When it does. All right, let me try it again. Choke's open a little more than it was. There you go. Drive. Camera fell. That's okay. We'll live with it. So after a little online research, I think I might be the reason why this car wasn't running good with the alternator plugged in. I forgot that this can backfeed into the HMI and cause issues. And it needs a light bulb or a diode in it. So I have a diode inside this fuse holder that I'm going to wire in between the plug and here where it goes back to the choke and see if that will make this car run good. Or better. Anyway. All right, let me stick that in, see what happens. Well, that definitely helped it. I know, got jumps everywhere. I actually pulled it out of the plug. But it's really cold out here, so it doesn't want to run. But it's running better than it was before I put the diode in it. So I definitely think that was my problem. I knew better. I just didn't do better.